As the NFL offseason gains momentum, one name that has just risen to the forefront of potential coaching discussions is Raiders interim coach Antonio Pierce. Following an impressive stint as the interim coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Pierce has garnered interest not just from his current team, but also from other franchises eyeing his leadership prowess. The Raiders found themselves in a mid-season crisis after parting ways with Josh McDaniels after a 3-5 record, leading to the elevation of Antonio Pierce as the interim head coach. Pierce took over the reins and steered this team admirably, leading them to a 5-4 record during his tenure. His coaching strategies and his ability to rally this team in the face of adversity quickly caught the eye of both players inside the locker room and the NFL community at large. The Raiders aren't the only team considering hiring AP as their permanent head coach, as the Tennessee Titans have emerged as the first suitor in pursuit for Pierce's coaching services. The Titans decided to part ways today with Mike Vrabel, who spent 6 years with the team and will now be looking for their new head coach. Reports from Ian Rapoport indicate that the Titans have formally requested permission to engage in discussions with Pierce about their head coaching vacancy. This move by the Titans just shows the growing interest in Pierce's leadership capabilities beyond the Raiders organization. Pierce's impact resonated very deeply within the Raiders locker room, prompting vocal support from players like Davante Adams, Max Crosby, Jack Jones, a lot of different guys advocating for his retention as a permanent head coach next season. However, the landscape has shifted with external interest from other teams, which could potentially complicate the Raiders' pursuit of securing Pierce for the long term, especially if they cannot decide this in an efficient manner. With the rumors circulating about a potential return to the NFL from Jim Harbaugh, the Raiders are a team that has come up in the potential teams in consideration for his services. The Raiders cannot afford to run the risk of letting Antonio Pierce walk if they cannot secure Jim Harbaugh in a quickly manner. Now, there is no guarantee that Antonio Pierce is going to get offered the head coaching position from Tennessee, but if he doesn't, there's also been reports that the New York Giants, a team that Antonio Pierce played for and ultimately won a Super Bowl with, would be interested in signing him as a defensive coordinator. So it's starting to look like Antonio Pierce will have options moving forward into the offseason if Mark Davis and the Raiders decide to not bring him back, or if they're just taking too long in the process and he has to make a next move, looking out for his future. If AP isn't hired as a coach, I don't see any scenario where he would be retained on this coaching staff, especially if Jim Harbaugh comes in here. That's the last thing he's going to do. So if we don't hire him as a head coach, it would very likely mean that he's going to leave this organization. Also, if Antonio Pierce is gone, this may increase the chances of our defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, leaving the team, as he has also been sought for an interview by our rivals, the Los Angeles Chargers, as a potential head coach as well. Now, I don't honestly think he's going to get signed, but you just never know what teams might come out and be interested in a guy like Patrick Graham, who was a guy that was very responsible for the transformation of this defense this season. If a high-profile guy like Harbaugh came in, he would very likely bring in his own coaching staff and very likely bring in his own defensive coordinator. There's probably a strong chance that he would bring in his defensive coordinator from Michigan, and that would mean Patrick Graham would not be back with the silver and black either. So definitely these latest reports have put a little bit of added pressure to the whole situation, because there's a lot of uncertainty about the future of this team, what the team will look like from a coaching staff perspective, and even from a roster standpoint, depending on who we will bring in as the next head coach. One could argue that this may just be a Rooney Rule requirement being met by the Titans and by the Chargers when it comes to Patrick Graham, but there is no doubt in my mind that Antonio Pierce will still have offers in the NFL to either be a positional coach, whether that be a defensive coordinator, or to potentially be a head coach if the Raiders fall asleep at the wheel and don't make a move and don't make a decision promptly. AP is not going to wait around too long, especially if he gets a formal contract proposal from an NFL franchise. And if that happens, if AP ended up walking, then the Raiders better make sure that they land Harbaugh, because if they don't, and if they let their two best options at the head coaching position walk away, then we would be stuck in a terrible situation moving into a crucial offseason in 2024. The Raiders head coaching search has only just begun, leaving a lot of room still for speculation about the future moving forward with Antonio Pierce or somebody else coming in, but interest from external teams introduce a new dynamic, potentially altering the perception of Pierce's availability. But there's no doubt that Antonio Pierce's #1 option is to be the Raiders head coach. He's made that very clear. He's been very vocal about that. He wants to be back here in the silver and black. The players want him back as well, but we'll just ultimately see what ends up happening. The NFL coaching carousel often features potential rising stars like Antonio Pierce, whose success in an interim role sparks interest and competition among multiple franchises seeking a new and transformative leader. And to me, this just kind of highlights the value of Antonio Pierce's adaptability, his leadership, and his overall vision in the competitive landscape of the NFL. As the offseason unfolds, the Raiders face a pivotal decision regarding their coaching future. Will they go ahead and retain Antonio Pierce, whose impact and potential have drawn interest from other teams across the league, or will they ultimately try and swing for the fences for a big name like Harbaugh? Only time will tell, as the coaching carousel continues to spin and the pursuit of coaches remains at the forefront of NFL teams' agendas this time of the year. But Raider Nation, those are my thoughts and opinions on the latest report of the Titans potentially having interest in Antonio Pierce being the head coach. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys think this is legit? Do you think it's just a Rooney Rule requirement? Let me know in the comment section down below. And with that being said, Raider Nation, that is all for you guys in today's video. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.